Namaskar friends, today we shall discuss regulations on audit and accounts 2007. This is the second part of this series. This video has been prepared by RK Didactics and this is in form of notes and MCQs beneficial for the candidates appearing PC 5, 6, 7, 22 and 26 of SS examinations. This video is prepared by RK Didactics. If you are interested for online classes, you may contact in the following email. So, today we shall discuss compliance audit. Regulation 43 deals with examinations in compliance audit. Compliance audit examines the transactions relating to expenditure, receipts, assets, liabilities for compliance with the following: the provisions of the Constitution of India and the applicable laws, the rules, regulations, orders and instructions issued by the competent authority. These rules, regulations, instructions may be issued by the competent authority either in pursuance of the provisions of the Constitution of India and the laws or by virtue of the powers formally delegated to it by a superior authority. So, compliance audit mainly to see that the provisions of Constitution of India and applicable rules, regulations, orders, instructions are complied with or not. Regulation 44 deals with examination of rules and regulations, etc. Compliance audit includes an examination of rules and regulations, instructions for their legality, adequacy, transparency, propriety, prudence and effectiveness. So we shall discuss what is legality. Legality means whether these rules are intra vires the provisions of the Constitution of India and laws. Similarly, adequacy examines the rules are sufficiently comprehensive and ensure effective control over government receipts, expenditure, assets, liabilities, and there is sufficient safeguards against loss due to waste, misuse, mismanagement, errors, frauds and other irregularities. Similarly, transparency examines that these rules are clear and free from ambiguity and promote observance of probity in decision making. Mainly, transparency means that it is free from ambiguity. There is clear cut instruction in the rules and regulations. Propriety examines judiciousness and wise means prudence of the rules and regulations. Effectiveness examines that the rules and regulations are effective and achieve the intended objectives and aims. Regulation 45 deals with consistency. Compliance audit also examines whether the rules, regulations, orders and instructions are consistent or not. Government department must endorse or send copies of all rules, regulations and general orders relating to revenues, expenditure and liabilities, assets to the audit and the accounts office. Similarly, any revision of rules or codes by government having financial, accounting or auditing implications shall be referred to Concerned Accountant General, Audit and Accounts for scrutiny before issue. Regulation 48 deals with authority of CAG in regard to audit of expenditure. As per section 13, the CAG shall conduct audit of all expenditure from the Constitutional Fund of India, states and union territories. Similarly, section 13 read with section 2E of the Act authorizes CAG to audit all transactions of union and states and UT relating to contingency fund and public account. So, section 30 related to contingency fund and section 32E related to contingency fund and public accounts. Audit of expenditure incurred from the contingency fund examines whether adequate, proper and sound system and procedures are in place and are being complied for spending public money. Audit checks the expenditure for appropriation, that means the availability of fund in the budget, authorization by competent authority, compliance with applicable laws, rules, regulations, orders and instructions in actual disbursement, evidence by vouchers, pays, acknowledgement, etc. A record in the books of the spending officers, including cross verification with records of treasury, pay and accounts office, banks, etc. Accounting in the book of the government, monitoring, control and reporting as per government rules. So these are the checks to be conducted while audit of expenditure in compliance audit. Audit shall bring to light not only significant cases of irregularity and breach of rules, but also every matter which in judgment of audit officer involves significant, excessive, extravagant or wasteful expenditure despite compliance with the rules and regulations and orders. So in compliance audit, only compliance with rules and regulations does not mean that everything is okay. Audit will also bring to light the significant cases of irregularities due to wasteful expenditure, extravagant expenditure, excessive expenditure, etc. So compliance does not mean that only compliance, it also means other things. Regulation 51 deals with audit of transactions of public account and contingency. The basic principles of audit of expenditure incurred from the constitutional fund shall also apply to any expenditure from public account and contingency fund. So the basic principles of audit is similar for constitutional fund of India, public account of India and contingency fund of India. Audit will also check similarly their legality, competence and propriety. Further, in public account, it will check for availability of the credit for any withdrawal. In contingency fund, it will check for the availability of sufficient balance for any amount of advance as well as timely resumption to the fund of any amounts. So public account, whether the amount for withdrawal is actually credited or not, and in contingency fund there is sufficient availability of balance and timely resumption of the fund already taken from contingency fund. Regulation 53 deals with authority for audit of receipts. Section 16 authorizes CAG to audit all receipts of the Government of India, states and union territories with legislative assemblies. He will also ensure that the rules and procedures are designed to secure effective check on the assessment, collection and proper allocation of revenue and are being duly observed. So the main role of CAG is to ensure that there is effective check on the assessment, collection, proper allocation of revenue and the rules are duly observed. Rule 54 deals with examination of system and procedures. Audit of receipts includes an examination of system and procedures and their efficacy in respect of the following things. What are these? These are identification of potential tax excesses, ensuring compliance with laws, deduction and prevention of tax evasion, so audit will also see pursuit of claims with due diligence and that these are not abandoned or reduced except with proper justification and proper authority. There must be prompt investigation of losses of revenue through fraud, default or mistake and also review of other similar cases. Whether exercise of discretionary powers appropriately including levy of penalty and initiation of prosecution is done, appropriation action to safeguard the interest on the orders passed by the Department of Appellate Authority are taken or not. Audit also see any scheme as may be introduced by the government from time to time. Also, any measures introduced to strengthen or improve revenue administration, amounts of arrears, maintenance of records of arrears and action taken for the recovery of the amounts in arrears, other ancillary and non-assessment functions including expenditure incurred by the departments, achievement of targets, accounting and reporting of receipts and their cross verification and reconciliation with the accounts records, amounts of refunds, rebates, remissions, abatements to see that these are correctly assessed and accounted for. So audit mainly will see whether the appropriate system is in place to do all these works. Regulation 56 deals with access to assessment files and records. Audit shall have access to individual assessment files subject to provisions of applicable laws and rules. Audit will also have access to databases maintained in the computerized system. Regulation 57 deals with follow-up action on systemic faults. When audit points out systemic faults or identified high risks, the department should take appropriate action to address these faults and mitigate the risks identified. Regulation 58 deals with intimation of follow-up action taken. The department shall furnish within 6 months of the close of each financial year annual statement to AG Audit with details of follow-up action taken on audit observations, including recoveries in respect of paragraphs included in the audit reports laid before Parliament or legislature till the end of the financial year. So, regularly in each 6 months, within 6 months of close of financial year, the department will submit the follow-up action. Rule 59 deals with authority for audit of stores and stocks. Section 17 empowers CAG to audit and report on the accounts of the stores and stock kept in an office or department. The Regulation 60 deals with manner of keeping of accounts of stores and stocks. The accounts of stores and stocks shall be kept in the manner prescribed by the Union Government in consultation with CAG. Rule 61 deals with audit of stores and stocks. Audit of stores and stocks is an extension of audit of expenditure, including verifying that adequate and sound system and procedures are in place and complied with. So, stores and stock audit is just extension of expenditure along with verifying that adequate and sound system and procedures are in place and complied with. Rule 61 deals with how to conduct audit of stores and stocks. Audit should ensure that there is proper assessment of requirement of stores, authorization of procurement of stores in a cost-effective manner in accordance with the prescribed system and procedure are done or not, receipt, inspection, custody, issue and accounting of stores, periodical verification of physical variance are done or not. Rule 62 deals with right of audit to investigate stores and balances. Normally, audit shall not assume responsibility for physical verification of stores, which is rests with the government. However, audit reserves the right to investigate stores and stocks, balances, and highlight discrepancies on its own discretion. Regulation 63 deals with audit of other assets and liabilities by CAG. Section 13 authorizes CAG to audit trading, manufacturing, profit and loss accounts, balance sheets, and other subsidiary accounts. Accordingly, audit by CAG extend to all other assets and liabilities of the Union, States, and Union Territories with Legislative Assembly, including ongoing and completed works, investments, loans and advances, deposits, cash balances, internal and external borrowings, guarantees given by the governments, reserves and sinking fund. So, CAG's authority is also include auditing of all these assets and liabilities. Regulation 66 deals with audit of grants in aid and loans. Audit of grants in aid and loans is primarily an extension of audit of expenditure, and additionally, it examines utilization of the funds for the intended purposes. So, grant in aid audit is like audit of expenditure. In additional, it sees that whether these funds are utilized for the purpose for which grants in aid or loan are given. Regulation 67 deals with verification during audit of GI and loans. What are the verification to be done during audit of GIA and loans? Audit shall verify whether system and procedures are in place and are being complied with for clear expression of the purpose of the GIA or loans, proper and transparent identification and selection of persons, bodies and authorities with reference to their antecedents, absorbent capacity, financial position, systems and management practices, determination of amount of assistance and its timely release, proper accounting of assistance both by grantee and loanee, including fulfillment of condition of government assistance, monitoring and ensuring the economical, efficient and effective end use of assistance, including achievement of the objective of assistance, refund to the government of any unutilized amount, repayment of loan and recovery of interest including penal interest. So these points are to be seen while conducting audit of grant in aid and loans. So now we shall discuss some questions on the basis of previous discussions. Question 1 is, compliance audit examines the transactions relating to expenditure, receipts, assets and liabilities of government for compliance with which of the following? Option A, the provisions of the Constitution of India and applicable laws. Option B, the rules, regulations, orders and instructions issued by the competent authority either in pursuance of the provisions of Constitution of India and the laws, or the rules, regulations, orders and instructions issued by virtue of the powers formally delegated to it by a superior authority, or all of these. So the answer is all of these. So during compliance audit, all these are to be complied. Which is not correct on ensuring legality, adequacy and transparency of rules and regulations in compliance audit? Option A, legality is whether these are inter vires the provisions of the Constitution of India and the laws. Option B, adequacy means these are sufficiently comprehensive and ensure control over government receipts, expenditure, assets and liabilities, etc. Option C, transparency means these are clear and free from ambiguity and promote observance of probity in decision making. Option D, none of these. So the question is, which is not correct? So the answer is none of these, because all are correct. The CAG is empowered to audit all expenditure from the Constitutional Fund of India and of each state and of each union territory having legislative assembly. Which section of DPC Act provides this power? Section 12, 13, 14, 15. And the answer is Section 13 empowered CAG to audit of all expenditures. Section 13 read in Section 2E of the Act does not authorize the CAG to audit all transactions of the Union and states and Union territories relating to Constitutional Fund, Contingency Fund, Public Account, none of these. So the question is, which is not allowed in Section 2E? And the answer is Consolidated Fund, because under Section 2E, CAG is empowered to conduct audit of Contingency Fund and Public Account. The basic principles of audit of expenditure incurred from the Consolidated Fund apply mutatis mutandis to any expenditure that may be incurred from the public account or from the contingency fund. Which is not correct of the following? In case of public account, audit examines for the availability of credit for any withdrawal. Option B, in case of contingency fund, audit examines for the availability of sufficient balance in the fund for any amount of advance as well as timely resumption to the funds of any amount. Option C, none of this. So the question is, which is not correct? So the answer will be none of this, because both the options are correct. If the question is which is not correct, the answer will be none of these. Section 16 of DPC Act authorizes CAG to audit all receipts of the Government of India, each state and of each union territories having legislative assembly, and to satisfy himself that the rules and procedures are designed to secure an effective check on the assessment, collection and proper allocation of revenues and are being duly observed. Audit of receipt includes which of the following? Only revenue receipt, only capital receipt, both revenue and capital receipt. Audit of receipts includes both revenue and capital receipts. The scope of audit of receipts includes examination of integrity of data, information and documents which form the basis of the policy. Option A, the above statement is true. Option B, the above statement is false. Option C, the above statement is partly true. And the answer is the above statement is true. Section 17 read with Section 2E of the Act authorizes the Comptroller and Auditor General of India to audit and report on the accounts of the stores and stocks kept in an office or department of Option A, Union Government. Option B, Government of States and Union Territories having legislative assembly. Option C, all of these, and the answer is all of these. So it authorizes both for both Union government and of government of state and UTs also. As per Regulation 62, normally the primary responsibility of physical acquisition of stores and stocks rests with government or audit or both of these, and the answer is, and it is government. The primary responsibility of physical verification rests with government. Audit of grants in aid and loans is primarily an extension of audit of expenditure, and hence the broad principle of audit of expenditure shall apply. Option B, receipt, hence the broad principle of audit of receipt shall apply. Option C, both of these, and the answer is, grants in aid is mainly extension of audit of expenditure. The department shall furnish annual statement to AG audit with details of follow-up action taken on audit observations, including recoveries in respect of paragraphs included in the audit reports laid before Parliament or Legislature till the end of the financial year, within 1 month of the close of each financial year, within 2 months, within 3 months, or within 6 months of close of financial year. So the answer is, within 6 months of close of each financial year, the department shall furnish annual statement to AG audit. Thank you for your patience. If you are interested for online classes, you may contact to RK Didactics. Thank you.